96.7 KCAL rocks. It is time to do some sports with our guy, Pep. Man, some history happened last night. Really cool. What's going down, Pep?
Yeah, you know what? Let's lead off with some baseball, Patrick, because we did have some big baseball news, and we will talk about that historic home run last night. But quick shout out to the Dodgers. They beat the Padres in extra innings 1-0 last night, and now they have 107 wins on the regular season with still a week and a half to go, and that sets a new franchise record. There has not been a regular season Dodgers team better than this season right now.
Wow, it is really amazing. I mean, they have had one hell of a year. I mean, we've talked about it quite a bit. We were surprised that they were good throughout the entire year. You know, normally that baseball season, it's so long. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And normally you have that lull or a slump. I did not really see that. And they had injuries. They had stuff to overcome, and they did it every single time. They look very good.
Yeah, you know, we brought up a great point. They have had injuries. Cody Bellinger and Max Muncy haven't had very good seasons, and they still have 107 wins this year. It's crazy.
Walker Buehler, he was a big piece. He goes down, and it just didn't affect the Dodgers. No. They just kept next man up, boom.
And right now, you know, they are the number one seed in the National League. So the road to the World Series will go through Los Angeles. They will have home field advantage throughout. So that's the perk, right, of being the best team with the most wins through the regular season.
Oh, it's so great. I cannot wait to see what happens. I mean, I'm just hanging on for dear life, just trying to get these playoffs going, and then we'll go from there, you know?
I know, because you're a Mariners guy, and you guys are very much in the hunt. You should be in the playoffs, but you know, anything can happen in the last 7 or 8 games, whatever it is, the last week and a half.
I mean, I'm a dreamer, and I'm dumb enough just to get to dream about the Mariners and the Dodgers in the World Series. I mean, that would be the ultimate dream for me, but I will be happy just to make the playoffs, like you said, because it's been 20 years.
It could happen. This might be the year for the Mariners, the longest drought in MLB to not make the playoffs. Hey, but Patrick, the big news, the big historic home run last night, it was Aaron Judge of the Yankees hitting his 61st home run. So now he ties the legendary Roger Maris for the American League record with 61 home runs. And he's probably going to pass that in the next week or so and become the American League home run champion for most home runs during the regular season. And here's the thing I wanted to point out too. The poor guy, I think there's actually maybe 2 or 3 in the neighborhood who could have caught that home run ball, which they're pricing at about $2 million. Nobody caught it. It fell into the Yankees bullpen, I think it was, right? Or was it the Blue Jays? It fell in one of the bullpens, and so nobody caught the ball.
Nobody caught the ball. It is cool because there's a few games left. Like you said, we can see how many he can tally up here. It hasn't been done since 1961. Also, another thing for non-baseball people, I know this is for Mr. 40 out there. The reason this is such a big deal is because this is the first non-steroided home run where they got up to this number. In a way, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, they ruined this a little bit for us. We really should be appreciating it a lot more.
Yeah, you know what? And a lot of people will consider Aaron Judge your true single season home run champion because of the only guys have had better seasons are the guys you just listed, McGwire, Sosa, and of course Barry Bonds, who has 73, which is the all-time mark. But you know, Aaron Judge will have the American League record. At least he's tied for it, and some will consider him the true home run king, at least for one season.
Which Roger Maris Jr. did say. He considers those other guys' numbers, those home runs, illegitimate.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is the new home run
king. A lot of people do. So we'll see what Aaron Judge actually finishes with 61 right now. Let's talk some good old American foosball, man. And, we know Hurricane Ian battering Florida right now, and it's affecting a lot of college football, a lot of NFL. And the big game I was excited about was, Chiefs and Buccaneers. And it looks like that game, I don't know if it's official yet, but they're looking at Minnesota, moving it all the way up to the Midwest in Minneapolis to play that game.
I want to say that hasn't Tampa been moved down to Miami, believe it or not, because it's kind of out of the way.
Yeah, for camp. Yeah, just to practice.
Yeah, so been doing that. And then, we've been in this situation before where a game has had to move to kind of a neutral site. We've been through natural disasters. I mean, hey, if they have to do it in Minnesota, do it in Minnesota.
Yeah, like a neutral site. I'm sure they just want to get the game in. But could you imagine just Chiefs versus Buccaneers in Minnesota, the home of the Vikings? If you're a Vikings fan, wouldn't you just go out and watch it just because?
Absolutely. And how come I can just hear Jerry Jones on the phone right now? I feel like he's making a deal. The house is available.
Yeah.
That Jerry World is available.
Cut you guys a good deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this is not a good deal, Patrick. Man, the Chargers they can't catch a break right now. The injuries are piling up. We've talked about Justin Herbert, and now, Joey Bosa. Listen, they're calling it a torn groin. I've never had a torn groin, but that sounds awful. So a lot of their key players, one of their Pro Bowl offensive linemen's out, like they're losing guys right and left. And I just feel really bad for the Chargers because, again, kind of like the Raiders, they were supposed to have a really good season, and it's just unraveling really quick.
Yeah, Bosa, I think we know that just a pulled groin is a big deal.
Yeah.
A pulled groin can affect you for the rest of the season. This is really, really bad. And losing Slater from the offensive line, that young kid who was amazing.
Yeah.
He goes down. Herbert's hurting. It's what happens in the NFL, man. Sometimes you just have those years where you get beat to crap.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate, man, like the timing of it. And these are like obviously key players, like star players that the Chargers would need to make a run for a division title, make a run for the playoffs, all those sorts of things. So I don't know if they can get healthy in time to turn things around. Maybe they keep the ship afloat for a while until everybody can come back. But yeah, just bad news for the Chargers, especially with such high expectations going into the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, just too bad. The other big game this weekend in the NFL, Bills versus Ravens. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Well, I should say Lamar Jackson looks great, and he's kind of carrying that team right now. And Josh Allen, if you love quarterbacks and you love quarterback duels, we got Brady versus Mahomes, and we got Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. So that should be another big-time matchup this weekend.
Absolutely. We're keeping an eye on Buffalo because they keep kind of showing us that they're legit. And then, we can just watch the Lamar show because speaking of injuries, he's carrying that team. So, that should be a really good one.
It kind of ebbs and flows between the NFC and the AFC, like which one looks stronger. And I feel like the NFC, little watered down. There's a lot of parity, but in the AFC, I feel like you got some heavyweights with Kansas City and Buffalo, and now Baltimore looks legit. Like there's some who knows what Miami and Cincinnati is going to do. Like I just feel like you've got some really good teams right now in the AFC.
Yeah, they've built up.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man, this NFL season with so many teams, especially like Miami coming from out of nowhere. Oh, Philadelphia in the NFC, I should mention them because they're undefeated. All right, Patrick, let's wrap things up talking some college foosball. And number 7, USC is at home for Arizona State. The Sun Devils, all kinds of trouble there. They let Herman Edwards go. They're underperforming this year. USC's 4-0. They're back home. Like, this should be a big blowout win for the Trojans. I say should be.
It should be, just like you said. And then just quickly on Herm, we've heard of getting fired on the bus. We've heard of, who was it who got left on the tarmac?
Oh, Lane Kiffin, your boy Lane Kiffin.
We've heard of Lane Kiffin getting fired on the tarmac. This is the first time he got end zoned. Yeah. He walked after that game to the end zone, and they fired him right on the spot. And then there's also a story coming out where they were intentionally trying to get him fired. Did you hear that too? That they were setting him up, other coaches within the program.
Herman Edwards, come on. From what I hear, he's a good guy. He's been around football a long, long time in the NFL. But yeah, and I saw the video and pictures too. They intercepted him, if I could use a football term. They intercepted him in the end zone on his way to the locker room. I think it was the school president and the athletic director. That's never good if those guys are meeting you on the football field before you can even go see your team. That is not a good sign. They think it happened right there in that moment.
Yeah. It did happen right there. As far as I know people who have worked with Herman. They say he's amazing. So We'll see what happens. It does happen. Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and apparently that's what's happened. But yeah, USC looking tough, huh? Caleb Williams, even when they play that crap, looks like he can find a way.
Yeah. He found a way against Oregon State, and this should be a cakewalk against Arizona State. And right now, Patrick, we got 4 teams in the Pac-12 in the AP top 15. All of a sudden, people are respecting the Pac-12. You got USC, Utah, Oregon, and Washington. And Washington actually plays UCLA tomorrow night on Friday night at the Rose Bowl. So that UCLA, this will be their first real test. They beat some teams we haven't heard of. They beat Colorado, who might be one of the worst teams in the country. This will be their first real test against a ranked Washington Huskies team.
Exactly. A lot of respect for the Pac-12. It's just funny that there's the stories about it dissolving. But you're right. And then even my Washington State Cougars are a little bit outside that 25. The Pac-12 looks very strong.
Yeah, again, your Cougs, Wazoo, man, beating Wisconsin. That's a Big Ten team. Like all of a sudden, the Pac-12, that Utah loss to Florida in the first week of the season kind of soured things. But since then, the Pac-12 has looked pretty good overall. Like they're getting some respect, from the national media.
I got a lot of Pac-12 pride over here. I got a lot of pride in you too, Pep. Tell me how to get your stuff.
You are the man, Patrick. Get my stuff on Inland Sports, a lot on the gram, a lot on Twitter, and we got the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Check it out. That is Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.